switching gears. All right. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Kenny with Macquarie, Standing Bear Soda Tribe Fishing Lake, First Nations, Saskatchewan, Canada, Treaty 4 Territory, Anishinaabe, 60 Scoop Survivor, author, and welcome to We Are the Medicine Circle. And if no one said that, they love you today. I love you very much. And We Are the Medicine Circle implies that, we're simply, we're the medicine, and it really implies it looks really something like this right here, something very close, if not exactly that. I am in the service of this circle, and I'm in the service of the Great Spirit. So this is not a sermon. I'm not a preacher. This is not some hierarchical, patriarchal, kind of thing where you're down there and I'm up here, and I'm giving you, one of these and saying, like anything like that. It's, really looks like this right here. See that? We are all intertwined and overlapped here. So anyway, and what we mean by I love you, it just simply means that we want you to have a really good and beautiful life connected to all those things. We're going to talk more about that, another aspect to that, a little later. We have a comment about that. So anyway, let's get a good smudge going. Sometimes you need more than one. So all right, so let's begin with one. And if you have any smudge out there, anything that you use, go ahead and give me a thumbs up if we can kind of do this throughout the morning circle. Remember, we have a grandmother out. There we go. Remember, we have a grandmother out in BC that suggested that we keep this smoke going. The colonial is not really talking about it, but in Indian country, we are still talking about it. We are still talking about honoring, respecting the return of our children from the residential schools. So we will keep that. We'll keep that in our prayers this morning. We want to keep those children on the forefront of our prayers. When no one else is talking about it, we're going to keep that prayer going here. So that's what we do. Okay, so let's begin in a good way. So begin in a good way this morning. So, okay, a little pinch goes a long way. There we go, a little pinch. There's always questions about that. That's why I say that. Well, how much should I offer? Well, about this much is good. So, well, the question was, how much should I offer? And well, just like a little bit goes a long way. We don't have to. I got a funny story about that. But let's begin. If it doesn't begin with prayer, then it doesn't begin. If it doesn't begin with spirit, then it doesn't begin. So if you would like to offer with me, that would be good. And then, Anishiga, Wichiagana, to all my relations. Kichimanatu, Great Spirit, Creator, Great Mystery, Megwich, Teammates, thank you. Okay, it was on me. I love you. We love you. Thank you for this day. Thank you for our breath. Thank you for our life. Thank you for our circle. We are grateful for our last breath, and we are hopeful for our next, and we live in that place in between. We come here today. We mean no harm in what we do. We mean no harm in what we do. We come here for many reasons. But the first reason is always life. We want to be grateful for life. We want to celebrate life. And I can't celebrate my life without celebrating yours. So we celebrate all nations, tribes, and circles, this circle included. And especially those circles that do not look like the two-legged, like the standing nations, the ones that offer us breath. We say thank you to the fish nations, the ones who teach us how to live in harmony and balance with the water. When the winged nations, the ones who teach us how to live in harmony and balance with the wind and air. Creepy crawlers and the slithers and the insect nations, the ones who teach us how to stay close and grounded to Mother Earth. To the four-legged communities who offer us and give us so much. They teach us so much about our own humanity. We say thank you. And of course to other two-legged circles where we understand and know that you are our teachers as well. This makes us happy. And we celebrate in all directions, both seen and unseen, because we know we live in both worlds at the same time. We want to celebrate those that have come before us, our ancestors. We have to understand that if there are relatives here, there are ancestors over there. So our ancestors are not just the two-legged, they are all life. Like the beavers and the bears and the butterflies and the bees and all these. They have all helped to give us life, and they're all helping us to live a good life. So let us acknowledge that, recognize that, understand that, honor that, respect that. Most importantly, let's carry this prayers and their love with us. We come from 1,000,000 points of light and love and prayers and life. We also want to acknowledge that some of our two-legged ancestors were sick, wounded, abused, and traumatized, and they offered that to us. It is not ours to keep. It is ours to heal. And then we're supposed to share this healing to the next seven generations. We're not supposed to carry the wounded, the trauma, and offer it to them as it was offered to us. We're supposed to come here and we're supposed to break those chains, and we're supposed to heal. For this earth is only alone. This earth is given to us by our children, and our children are only loaned to us. We live in the intersection between these two unseen worlds. This is a time of great responsibility, a great opportunity, again, to break those chains, those wounds that were offered to us. It's a time of forgiveness and for healing. It's a time for prayer for all, a time to go back to Mother Earth, a time to go back to gratitude and the original Sacred Seven teachings, to align with those things that offer us life, and to gratitude to those things that offer us life. And those 7 teachings, the ancestors and the Great Spirit were smart. They left us teachings and this road to follow. humility, love, truth, strength, respect, honesty, wisdom. Let us walk with these as a foundation to a better life. Let us walk with these. Let us sit with these. Walk a bit, to sit in a sacred way. Listen in a sacred way, to honor in a sacred way, and let us carry these in a sacred way. Let's move forward from here. Let's move forward together from here. Let us remember the first prayer at the center of the universe. The first fire, the original prayer of harmony and balance. These teachings will take us to that place. Will take us to a place of peace and serenity for all life. This prayer will, when remembered and watched with, will teach us that we are one. Oh, all right. All right, well, good one this morning. So, all right, so if you're just joining us, welcome. My name is Kanipa with Mircles, Standing Bear, and we go over a couple of things before we start in earnest. One of those we got a kind of preamble things. We talk about hollow bones, and so if any one of you will want to share your definition of hollow bones, as Grandfather Tony always told me, that would be good. So when we share our definition of hollow bones, you're being hollow bones. That's like the walk right there. So I don't know if you know that, but that just that's it. That's what Grandfather Tony did with me, and he said, "Why don't you go make what's your definition?" And I tell him, and we're like, "Okay, you're becoming better hollow bones." And the beautiful thing about this is our definition, as we grow spiritually, so will our understanding of the definition, and the actual definition will change because we see things differently. Our perspective just see things absolutely differently. So the short definition, if you don't know what it is, it's an indigenous inspired term, hollow bones. We know there's a great life force out there, and we want to remember. I'm not really teaching you anything. I'm just here to guide you to remember that we are part of that life force. So a conduit of life, love, the spirit. Allow that to flow through us. So that's the short definition. So ancestors and elders. So let's go ahead and thank our ancestors. There was a comment about this the other day. I meant to comment on it back. It was about I didn't understand. It was from a colonial direction. Like I didn't really understand when you first said that our ancestors were the eagles and the bears. I think I said that day, and said and they said that's very interesting. Well, they are. There's a beautiful connection with that, and that's the connection that we want to carry. So there's messages, there's prayers, there's love there for us from the animals. That's why we have those animals that really help guide us. They are our teachers, right? When I first started this about 15, 20 years ago, I started working with horses a little bit, and the first thing they said is horses and spiritual teachers, and I kind of thought, well, that's spiritual, right? And then the more I got into it, the more I realized how much that we had to learn from just the horse community, the four-legged community. So anyway, I know it kind of went off on that. So thank you to elders. So let's go ahead and thank our elders, Grandfather Tony Stonehawk, my elder. Thank you, Tony, and all those other men and women who have helped me along the way on this journey called the Red Road. So thank you. Circle medicine, here we go. Okay, circle medicine. This is what it looks like right here. Circle. No one's in front of us, no one's behind us, no one's above us, no one is below us. We are all intertwined here. There we go. I got a couple cameras in front of me, that's why you see me looking back and forth. We are all equal here. We have to understand that. That's one of those things that humanity really has a problem with. We can't seem to wrap our head around that, right? Like if we're different, then there's a difference between us. But really those differences are our uniqueness that really, those ties that really bind us together. That's so the differences are differences. The differences are our uniqueness. We are all walking with life. Even the fire, the water, even the wind, they have spirit, they have a life, they have memories, they have all this for us. Like if they give us life, they're offering us life, right? So, what we're supposed to be doing here, come full circle, creative rep, come full circle, is we're supposed to offer life back, right? So if we are offering life, we're supposed to offer life back. That is like the definition of hollow bones, right? Like we're not supposed to take it, enjoy it, sit here and really do nothing with it, right? You know, that's what that colonial world does. Like they get stuck in this place and then they get sadness, loneliness, depression, like, you know, all that. We talked about that yesterday. So like, you know, that's what they have to offer because they're constantly breaking us up and separating us. And so we just sit in a room and then all of a sudden the room, that room is physical and then it's spiritual and then it's in our mind that we can't get out of our room, right? So the circle medicine really helps us get out of there, out of that really dark, lonely place, that you know, that comfort zone, right? So anyway, sacred feminine. Okay, we're finally here. So we understand that colonial world treats the sacred the life givers. The life givers. They treat the life givers differently. Over here, you are unique, wonderful, powerful, special, and sacred. I don't know how many colonial circles, any place you go on Sunday, that you hear that. But here we say it every day. The larger conversation is going back to that uniqueness. Just because we are different, we are unique, doesn't make anyone any better or any worse. It is our uniqueness that brings us together. Okay, so moving on, question of the day. I don't guarantee I will get around to every question or question, concern, or comment. I will address them as they come in. I don't guarantee that I will get around to them all. This is a really good question today. This came in last night. I saw it this morning. And I've been reading a lot about detachment. As Indigenous, what are your thoughts? And there was a little back and forth. Everything you need to conquer is in your mind. That was kind of like I just wanted to throw that in there. Detachment. You know, that's kind of like a new agey kind of like you know, it's like. And, you know, I kind of get it. It kind of sounds cool, but it kind of doesn't. It's kind of like missing something. Because what we do here is we don't really detach. What we do in the Indigenous world is we connect. So, that's really the theme. That's a common theme, right? We want to connect to all those things beautiful, right? Like we're having a drinking or you know, drug problem. You know, the more we think about not drinking and like not drugging, the more we drink and drug, right? And there's that, and I say that for a reason. The more we want to connect, hey, guess what? The more we connect, and that means connect to all these, you know, all these beautiful, powerful. Got some bear root here. Got some bear root here. So the more we connect to this, the more connected we are, right? to the medicines, the more we sit with, listen to, understand, listening. We have to be all in, right? We have to be all in. That's like the other thing. It's like, detachment. I kind of get that, right? And it's like a little bit of contrast medicine, but it's like a little off too. It's kind of like, well, you have to detach everything in your mind. Well, not really, because that's not really like a medicine we were teaching, right? Because the medicine we're teaching is spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, right? Right. So how do we detach from the physical? How do we detach from the mental? How do we detach from the emotional? How do we detach from the spiritual? Right? Well, we don't. We want to look at it from a different perspective, and we want to claim our birthright. Write that one down. We want to claim our birthright. And we want to connect to all those things. We want to sit with all those medicines, seen and unseen. Like humility, we want to sit with humility. But that means sitting next to a tree and talking to a tree and understanding that that tree is a living, beautiful, powerful sentinel being. Right? And that the standing nations, they have 7 generations back and they have 7 generations forward. They are our ancestors, right? That is a sign of humility. That when we are capable of doing that, and then we come to a place where we hear stories about other people connecting to the beautiful medicines, and then those other people, then they come back with their experience, their spiritual experience, like I am all heart all the time. And I think that's my own personal experience, and I think that's just that is a life game changer, right? And it has nothing to do with detaching, right? You see, that's in there somewhere, but I think it's more out in like the peripherals, like like detachment, like I. The things we own don't want to own us, right? That's a colonial narrative, right? Right? The things that we want to connect to, the things that we are related to. We come from the trees, we come from the air, right? Let's go back to things that are, let's be good relatives. Let's be good. Let's build good relations, right? It's a completely different narrative, right? Right? It's just kind of like, everything you need to conquer is in your mind, so they're talking about one aspect of the medicine wheel, like the mental, mental, and there's physical, emotional, and spiritual that are left unattended, untalked about in that statement. Like, it sounds really spiritual, but we actually have to go out and we have to touch, feel, smell, connect to, listen to, In other words, we have to be all in, right? We talk about that all day long. We have to be all in. Like, we have to be here when we listen. We have to be all in, right? We don't listen to respond. We don't listen to engage. We just sit there and we listen. And we definitely don't listen to be right or to prove you wrong, right? Right. That's that colonial narrative that I have to be right. I have to be good. I have to be better. I have to show you that I'm right. That's the colonial sickness, right? Right. Let's just sit there in a humble way and let's just listen. We don't need to get offended. Maybe we need to leave some prayers instead, right? These what we've been talking about in the last 3 minutes is talking about this place of humility, right? And right. So, please keep your questions, concerns, comments coming. I don't guarantee that I will get around to all of them, but we will get around to as many as we can. Okay, drum roll, please. Daily Medicine, February 28th. If we could get a volunteer to put that in the feed, it's a really good. It's actually one of my favorites. Actually, they're all kind of my favorites. So, what we will do here, if you're new here, we read out of one or two books here. We read out of Wishes from the Hollow Bone, and I know it's backwards. And or daily medicine. We are going to go out of daily medicine today, and what we're good. And they're really short readings, right? And here, there's another question. So, you know, there's other writers out there that, like Dwayne Dyer and Louise Hay, and you know, like all these things that like I read all the time, right? And so this is years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm listening to all this information, right? Like if you write 2 or 3 paragraphs, you're all over the freaking map, right? Like even if it's on one topic, right? There's and so I'm sitting here praying about that, and I'm like, I'm hearing from Spirit, well, I need you to write a book, I want you to write this thing and put them all together, and then share that. So that's what I'm doing, and then I started writing out these paragraphs, right, kind of explaining what's going on, right? But really, what I heard was, this is important. Is that you're supposed to explore your journey with understanding what these are. My opinion is just one way. It's not right, it's not wrong, it's just one perspective, right? So what Spirit told me to do was to write it out, and like we're supposed to make good relations with both seen and unseen. We're supposed to read this, pray with it, listen to it, feel that flow, feel that love, feel that guidance, feel that presence flow to us and then through us, and we're supposed to share that. So anyway, but while we're here in Circle, let's go ahead and we're going to read it and develop a general impression. So we're going to read it a couple of times, and you know, like a general impression. This is not about, again, this is not about right or wrong. Just because you've been here 3 days or 3 minutes or 3 months or 3 years doesn't make a difference. So your general impression is absolutely perfect. And the beautiful thing is, and we have to talk about this, is all our perspectives, we will grow together in that. And that's the beautiful thing. So it is in the presence of our own humility that we are able to usher in miracles. It is in the presence of our own humility that we are able to usher in miracles. What does that mean to you? What's the first word that popped in your head? Share it here. Share it here. The first word. The first thing I hear is that, you know, like we're coming from the colonial road. It may sound a little odd, but what we're really looking at here is how to live a good life. This is really about how to change, how to get out of our comfort zone, how to evolve, how to see different perspectives, right? And there's medicine in here that tells us exactly how to do that. It is in the presence. Okay, let's start there. It is in the what does that mean? What is Spirit trying to do? What is the Creator trying to tell us? It is in the presence. That means be in the moment. We can't be in yesterday. We can't be in tomorrow. We have to be right here. What is being in the moment? And we talk about this all day long. Like people want to change and want to stop drinking, but they don't really do anything about it, right? I was one of those. Being in the moment, we have to be all in. Who here? Give me a thumbs up if we are all in here. That means our focus is here. That means, you know, spiritually we're here. Emotionally we are here. Mentally we are here. Physically we're here. Right? It's hard to grow and learn if, you know, if there's a third of ourselves in yesterday and the rest of us are in tomorrow, and then we're just kind of popping in, just kind of sitting here and seeing this guy from Saskatchewan, you know, talking about, you know, being all in, right? But the grandmother, this is a great grandmother teaching. I just learned this. It was about, the five senses, about listening. No, we don't just listen from our ears. We don't even just listen from our heart. That's like a super spiritual thing. Oh, just listen from my heart. Well, well, okay, good. But, keep doing that. But we listen with our eyes. We listen with our touch. We listen with the smell. We listen with our taste. Right? In order to be all in, we have to be all in. Right? Right? We have to be all in spiritual. That means we want to change. We want to grow. We want to heal. We want to learn to love better. We want to connect, which is all those things. Write that one down. We want to connect. That means there's healing, there's love, there's light, there's forgiveness. There's all those things. Are you all in today? Have you started today the 30-day challenge? Maybe a couple of you slipped last day. I got a couple comments the last couple of days. Oh, man, I missed about it. Which I'm like, okay, well, just start over again. That's okay. The way we bounce back, the way we just start over again, speaks volumes about our character. Right? That's the beginning of being all in. Our ability to start and start over again, without prejudice, right? Without blame, shame, guilt, right? Like just start over. It doesn't matter. Start over. Doesn't matter. The sunrise doesn't tell us, hey, look, you know what? You have been here the last 3 days, man. What's wrong with you? What's happened? Get drunk last night? No, it doesn't say that. It just rises. So these medicines here, these medicines that are here, do not blame, shame, guilt. Write that one down. The feather, like tobacco, isn't any less effective if you forget about it for like 3 days or a week or whatever, right? It's still there to love us, and it's still there to guide us. Right. And the medicine with the physical thing is we have to show up, right? We have to show up. Like if you want to change, you want to heal, you want to forgive, you want to love, you want to learn to grow, you have to show up. That's the physical part, right? And then while you're here, emotionally, be all in, be focused. Listening is part of emotional. Mental is part of focus. Listening is physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, right? Right? And then, and I get it. I just heard you. A couple of us are really clumsy at this. I get that, right? But that's not a reason for us not to show up, right? Just because we're clumsy. Because we're not perfect, right? Doesn't mean that just because we have a slip doesn't mean that we don't come back, right? Because there's some people out there, some people are like still drinking, right? They're still drinking, right? And they say, I can't do it. I've been drinking. I can't show up. No, that's not what we're saying. No. You got your track shoes on, man. You're running, man. You're running that way when you should be sitting here, right? Right? In the presence of stepping out of our comfort zone isn't comfortable. It's not supposed to be comfortable. That's what makes it, that's what keeps us sick. It's that comfort zone, right? To be all in, we have to step out of our comfort zone. It's hard to be all in our comfort zone. We're probably not all in, right? Right? We're probably somewhere else, right? Probably locked in a room somewhere. We're probably, we're probably in our mind, which is what this guru just said. Like everything you need conquers in your mind. Well, I don't know about that, right? You need to step out of your comfort zone if you want to. If you want to break through, if you want to use the word conquer, I don't like it. But really, if you want to connect to the rest of the world, you have to step out of your comfort zone, right? Right. It is in the presence. We have to be present. We have to be out of our comfort zone of our own redundant there kind of like bad English, and I don't really know why I wrote it there, but the Spirit wanted redundant. So our own, it's kind of the same thing, right? Our own. But let's take a look at that, right? We take a look at what Spirit tells us redundantly, right? So I think this is rather important, our own. That means the individual, right? That means one. That doesn't mean we're separated. That means, they're breaking down this little strand right here. This little strand right here. See that guy? That's us right there. Our own, right? But you know what our own is still? It's still part of this beautiful intertwined overlapping. Like there's no separation. When they say here, right? Well, like when they say here, our own doesn't mean that we're apart from. Right? Because look at the medicine. Let's just go back to this is not a prop. This is medicine telling us how to do this, right? Just as we said that, it doesn't make this one, this is still part of a greater whole, right? So there's really no separation when the Spirit calls out, hey, you, which is basically what they're doing here, right? Hey, you, let's take a look at this and really, let's be all in right here in this moment. You out there. That means Luna, Kimberly, David, Josephine, Levine, everybody. Hey, they're just saying, hey, look, we need you to be here in this group, but we're calling out you individually, and that's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We get to still be buddies with the people that we're sitting next to, right? I think that's really cool. We're not separated from, right? Right. So they're really calling us out in a really beautiful, gentle way. Let's take a look at that, right? How does that feel? Is in the presence of our own okay. Humility, what does that say? It is in the presence of our own humility. Wow. What does that say? What does that mean to you? Humility. What is it? Is it spiritual? Mental? Emotional? Physical? Absolutely. It is one of the cornerstones of foundation. I don't like using those words, but it really works really well here, right? Humility. When I teach like a workshop or seminar, this is always the first thing I talk about because we can't do anything without it, right? How can we love without humility? We don't even know what it is, right? Love without humility looks like what the colonials do all day long, right? I don't want any part of that kind of love. I want to be connected here. And like, how do we connect here? And, since we're talking about love, humility, truth, respect, honesty, wisdom. They're all, this is what that looks like. Like if you're wondering what that looks like, the sweetgrass, that's exactly what it looks like. All intertwined, overlapping. You see, you have to understand when we sit with humility, we're really also like sitting with love too. Right. I didn't know this. I really thought they were like separate. Like I brought that colonial thinking in. I said, like these little boxes of, little box of love over here, and then there was a little humility over there, and then, it was over here, and then, no, that's irrational. That's irrational. If everything is related, then everything is related. Spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically. We're all related. You see, that's the illusion that everything's separate. We have some humility over here, and sometimes a little love's over there, and sometimes a little respect is, in the other room. No. We can't practice one without practicing being next to them all. So it says our humility. Okay, what time is it? Oh, okay. We come from, let's be really clear here, we come from a place of humility, We come from a place of love. So it's not just like this foreign entity coming in. It's not, it's not like we go to a party and there's this thing called humility there. And like, I'm not sure if I like you. No. It's already part of us. There's a spiritual teaching within us that comes in this place of light and love. It's part of, the first prayer, the ancient agreement at the center of the universe, harmony and balance that came through our mother's womb. We are a part of it. It is a part of our fabric. I'm not teaching you anything. I'm reminding you that there's a place of humility already within you that we just have to make good relations with. And to make good relations with, it says here, we have to be in the presence of, we have to be right here, right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. Have that moment. So it is in the presence of our own humility. So there's basically saying, I guess it's a really gentle course correction call. That's really what they're doing us here. And you know what? It gets better after this, but this is like the setup, man. Like, we want to live a really good life. This is the setup right here, man. This is it, right? They're setting us up, every time we do this, we're setting ourselves up for something awesome. How about that? Did you know that? I didn't know that when Grandfather Tony was talking about all that stuff, The setup is, right? And I bring this in, thank you for life. Thank you for this day. That's a level. That's practicing, sitting with, offering that new light. When that sun just comes over the horizon, that's the time. Oh, that's the time right there, right? Say thank you for life. How many of us woke up right now? Give me a little thumbs up. Give me a little heart. If you woke up this morning, just said thank you for life. And you made your offerings together, right? Give me a little thumbs up. Give me a little thumbs up. Say, God, just beautiful. Thank you for life. That is being present. That is everything that we're talking about here. Like, it's like that one little thing isn't so little. In fact, at the end of that thing, guess what it does? They're telling us right here, it ushers in miracles, right? And you get to write the miracle. You get to write what miracle you want. I don't know why I'm whispering, but but in the presence of our own humility, we have to build good relationship with humility. The ones that are doing this really understand, that make that physical offering of great thank you. That physical offering, thank you. Thank you for love. Thank you for love. Thank you for another shot. My life may not be perfect. I may have made a mistake yesterday, but you know what? I'm still going to be grateful for life. I get another shot at doing this again, right? I get another shot to do it right then. And you know what? Today's the day that I'm going to be present. I'm going to be all in. I'm going to be all in emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. For one moment, the first moment of the day. And I'm just going to say thank you. And the next moment is, and part of the miracle, I'm going to scoot ahead for a second, the part of the next, we're talking about miracles is, should be included in the first prayer is, what can I offer life like? What can I give my prayers to be more prayerful? I have been offered life. What can I offer life back? That's hollow bones right there. I need you to write that one down. Like, it's one thing to be grateful for life. It's a whole nother game. It's not even the same league when we say, what can I offer life back? Another term, another way we say it all the time is, the ceremony may end, but the ceremony in you does not end. So take what we've lived here, loved here, learned here, listened to, and take it out to the four winds. That is offering life back. If you don't know what that is, that means kind, generous, compassion, forgiving the unforgivable, forgiving freaking enemies, right? Right? And they're not the ones. And we're offering them, but the freedom that we really get is in here and here. Emotion, mental, spiritual. That means it frees us to be in the moment. If you're not in the moment, if you can't be in the moment, right? Right? I get this all the time. I get, I'm just too busy. My mind's too cluttered. It's this and that, Well, there's, we're just doing a little contrast medicine. Like, I get it from, like, if you're stuck in that colonial world, you're supposed to have too many minds. You're this mind, a sad mind, emotion. You're supposed to be all over the map because that's what it's designed to do. The spiritual engineering, spiritual genocidal engineering. Write that one down. You're supposed to have too many minds. You're supposed to have too many squirrels. You're supposed to have too many this running around your mind and not knowing what to do and where to focus because you're a liberal, you're a Democrat, you're conservative, you're Christian, you're white, you're black lives matter. Like all this stuff. You're gay, you're all this stuff, and you just and then you're like, oh my God, and then I come here and then you see this guy on Facebook and you're like, I just have too much. I can't do it. I just I can't. But like a guy that has like 1 too many, 14 too many espresso shots, right? But the beautiful thing is, when we begin this, the narrowing begins. The road widens, but the narrowing begins. Write that one down. The more things that we're connected to, the more one mind we have. Write that one down. I need you to write that one down. Colonial world, too many minds. Spirit world, one mind. Write that one down. Too many mind. One mind. The one mind means one heart, one prayer, one wisdom. We understand loving, forgiving, Loving, forgiving, less minds. Write that one down. Okay. And you know what it begins with? Here it is. Humility. That's why they're talking about humility. I don't know why I'm whispering. I don't know why I'm whispering. But that's why they're talking about humility. Because, humility is the setup. How much time we have? Oh, jeez. Okay. Humility is the setup that we are able to usher in, begin anew, usher in. Hey, there's a door. Hey, there's someone knocking the door. Let's usher something in, right? But we don't even know there's a door to open, like, without humility, right? Right? That we are able. Oh God. That we. I almost overlooked that. Can't believe I did that. That we. Those are power words. So now they're talking about being in the moment. They're talking about they did the redundancy of saying our and own, saying that's you, that you are part of a great whole. But you got to start with what? This beautiful thing, this medicine called humility. That we. How powerful is that? Our own humility. That we. What are they saying there? Let's recap. I really need you to get this. It is in the presence of our own redundancy, humility, that we. Let's just stop there. I could spend the rest of 3 hours talking about that alone. What are they saying? That's really significant. Our own redundant, and then 3 words later, they're talking about we. What does that mean? We already kind of went over it. It looks like this. The power. That beautiful, beautiful power. The we is how we usher in miracles. The back half, right? The I is how we show up with humility. It is with the we that we usher in miracles. Give me a little thumbs up. Give me a little heart, like if you're following me. It's really important that you get this. Is really beautiful, powerful medicine. Really, really beautiful, powerful medicine. Give me a little heart. Oh my God, there's a lot there. Okay, great, thank you. So and this is something that grandfather Tony said. Well, we need to sit with this, and in that we is you.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of instead of going this way, now we're talking about going this way, right? Like we're backstepping. So he said, this is something that you have to get on. And again, I can't tell you how many times he told me to go in the fire with this and said, you need to pray about this, right? And it's like laughable now, but it was just kind of like, it's kind of, oh, geez, Tony, going back to the fire. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So this place of humility, and really what the fire teaches us is what? Humility. The first fire at the center of the universe. What is that? Life is about being humble and humility. That's how we get a life. That's how we get a life, through this beautiful thing called humility. These people that come to me and said, really, I've really had a bad life, and then this and that. I get all that, right? There's some things out there that sometimes we just get the short end of the stick, and that's all we get. I get that, right? But the thing is, the stick doesn't, and the size of the stick doesn't matter. It's how we look at it and what we do with it, right? Like if you look at the first 3 or 4 years of my life, it was complete torture and freaking out. Like I got a short, that's just the way it is, right? I got the short end of the stick, right? I really did, right? But now look at where we are now, because I did a little work, because I sat with the elders and I listened to the elders. I did a little bit of work, right? A little bit of work, right? Just a little bit. And the great thing is, we can all do this, right? So we don't all have to stay in that place of victimhood, right? Mm. There's a lot of people talking about victimhood out there, right? And there's a lot of people talking about, there's a grandmother I talked to about, hey, look, we don't need to talk about that. And when there's a place of healing, that's not ours to own, right? And I get that, right? And then how do we do that? Well, we have to be in the moment. We have to understand that humility says that wasn't our fault. I don't know if you know that, right? That one, yeah. It's not our fault. What's that movie with Matt Damon? With the he was in Boston. I forget. I was but Robin Williams, because Matt Damon came from heavy trauma. He said, that's not your fault, and I got it. Oh, okay, that wasn't my fault. That's being present and understanding that it wasn't my fault, right? And it's not my fault. It's not mine to carry. It's not mine to hold. It's not mine to walk with. It's mine to begin. And not to say that we don't heal from that or recognize it or honor that, but we have to honor the healing too, right? Right? So sometimes things happen, right? It's not our fault, right? Not our fault. You need to write that one down. Years ago, like 20 years ago, 25, when I heard this, like I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop crying because I owned that, right? And then, like they were telling me that this is not your own. The grandmother was, I'm talking to you right now, telling me it's not your own, right? Talk about other things, but just, it's not yours to own. Right? See how beautiful that is, right? Right? Sometimes their sickness is not ours to own. That's a place of humility. What time is it? 53. Okay. So. Okay. Usher in. I'm not talking about miracles yet. Okay. That we are able. Okay. I broke that down too. That we are able. What does that mean? That means what we're doing here, that we are the medicine. That we can move in a really good, beautiful, powerful direction. Like we have, 30, 35 people in here at one point. So there's 30 people in here moving in a really good, beautiful direction, right? And this is not about perfection. This is about building good relationships, being good relatives, and really understanding that we really need to work on humility. That we need to work on humility, and how we do that is we work on it individually, right? Excuse me. Right? And of course, we are able to usher in miracles. What is trying to squeeze all this in? I'm just usher in miracles. What is a miracle? I need you to put that in the feeds right here. Emotional, mental, spiritual. So we're gonna bring in the medicine wheel here. This is your basic medicine wheel right here, the 4 quadrants, right? So like emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, right? So that's what the miracle is. You get to choose. Like, this is where it really gets good. You get to choose what miracle that you want to have, right? But you got to step in that place of humility. Like, in other words, like if you have too many minds, and then let's just take my story. So say you're put in orphanage and foster care. I took that, I owned that. I thought it was my fault, and then I realized that wasn't your fault, right? A place of humility, but it took me 22 years to get there. When Pop started talking about, hey, look, this is not your fault. This is not yours to own. It wasn't your fault. There were things that happened to you. Okay, so now we're at, it's not our fault. So now we can begin. That's the first step in the forgiving process, right? And I said process, right? I didn't say overnight. I didn't say right here, right now. I said this is a process. Begin to hold. That wasn't your fault, right? This is the beginning of the miracle, right? And the miracle was, for me, is when I started walking the red road, all I wanted was 1 day sober. That's all. The only reason why I went to ceremony, right? Now I have long-term sobriety, right? And now look what I'm doing. I'm offering life back. I think that's a miracle, right? So you get to, this is the power of living a good life. When we come in a good way, when we walk in a good way, these are the stuff that happens. Like did you wake up this morning and say, I'm like a miracle that happened, right? We all kind of do that, but we all kind of, I don't quite know how to get there. Well, welcome to your miracle. Welcome to this beautiful door. Welcome to a better life. You're welcome, What are you going to do about it? You can do it right now. You can step outside, you can do it right now. We can start over at any time. We can begin at any time. Like if we messed up this morning, we can start over any time, right? That's it. Doesn't have to be the way it's always been, right? Maybe that's a miracle. Maybe that's the miracle that you're looking for, right? Right? Yeah. We get to change the course of our life by what we're talking about here. I think that's called freedom. What would you call it? What would you call it? You don't have to be stuck in the past anymore. You don't have to be stuck in the future. You can create a new future. That's what they're saying. Not the teaching behind the teaching. That's what they're saying here. Beyond the beyond, right? But how do we get there? We do a few simple things that are earth-based. Humility is an earth-based, earth-based teaching, It's an earth-based teaching. And the beautiful thing is that the medicines there is telling us all the time about this humility. Earth is a place of humility, and it is walking around. Right? So let's walk with that medicine. Walk with this place of humility. It has a place of cleanse ourselves, to renew and restore ourselves. Maybe that's your miracle. Give me a thumbs up if you want to renew and restore. If you want to renew and restore and begin again, give me a thumbs up. If you want to live a better life, if you want peace of mind, how much is that? That's one of the miracles here. This is a step-by-step process, right? Yeah, this is a way to walk. When we say, when we say as indigenous, walk in a good way, this is what they're talking about, right? Right? Right. This is what they're talking about. It is in the presence of our own humility. Step one. So that includes me and you. That we get to walk. And so that means also, let's think about this, right? This is a seventh generation prayer, right? Because the we talked about it the other day, we, the seventh generation, is always part of the we. I don't know if you know that. So the seventh generation, so as so this gets just so big and so powerful, so quick. Like, when we add and include and understand and walk with honor, respect, love these teachings, then they're there. And the fact is, they've always been there. We've just arrived to this place. But this place that we arrived to, we have to come to being in the moment to get to that place, right? But if we're stuck in victimhood, we're stuck in, this or that, stuck in like a codependent relationship, or we're stuck in, so if we're still drinking, then we're someplace else. We're just not available, right? We need to make ourselves available. Okay. I could just keep going on and on, but, all right. Let's go on to a couple of announcements here. Let's start out with the YouTube channel. So Standing Bear, the author, YouTube channel. So what we have done here is being recorded. We have two things side by side. That's why I'm going like this, right? So we'll also be over there. Also, we'll be doing shorts over there too, because I understand not a lot of people have an hour to give every day to come here and sit with Standing Bear. So we're gonna take a little short, 15-20 minute like little short over there, and there'll be topics there. So just scroll through there. Just use it as like a library. Just go through. Hey, there's a library right there. If you're struggling with something, just go there. Just go there. Please subscribe there. So, okay, MMIW, we had a couple new volunteers, a new volunteer yesterday. Volunteers needed, 2 projects, t-shirt projects, nonprofit going on. Committees are set up. So if you want to volunteer, that is good. If you want to donate, we have a way of donating too. So I will post that in the feed. Donations go to a nonprofit business account. So yes. Okay, 60 Scooper. We had a healing circle yesterday. If you are 60 Scooper, because I know there's a couple of you out there, I've seen one of you in the feed this morning. Yes, so 60 Scoopers healing circle Mondays, every Monday for survivors only. PM me for details. Women's group, International Women's Healing Circle Facebook group. When women support each other, incredible things happen. So this is a Zoom thing. So please private message me for those details, and we'll put it in the feed also. So anyway, okay, I think that's everything. And of course, I know we've run over a few minutes, but that's okay. All right. Let the Standing Nation. Oh, by the way, so some of you asked us about this new Don Coleman from Oklahoma made this, and this is a single piece of. So this was a branch. This was one branch. This is not cut in half, layered, and then there's no borehole through there. No drill went through there. This is old school. That's why it sounds a little different. It always tells you when it's ready to go. So anyway, my name is Kalipa with Makwa Standing Bear. The final word is, this ceremony may end, but the ceremony in you does not end. So so we take what we lived here and learned here, loved here, and listened to here, and we take it out to the four winds. It does us no good to be all spiritual here if we can't be spiritual out there. So once again, my name is Kalipa with Makwa Standing Bear. And if no one said that, they love you today. I love you very much. Let's have a great day, everyone.